Hey everybody, it's Barbara Ann. Welcome back to my channel, Straight Out of Context. If you don't follow me on TikTok, this has been my TikTok for over 3.5 years now. I've been on TikTok for close to 6 years, but this is my main account that I've been using for the last 3.5. This is where my content is. This is where my true crime and all this other content that I have done about Gypsy Rose Blanchard, this is where I post it. I just thought I would make this compilation video of some of my earlier TikTok videos in relation to Gypsy Rose Blanchard so you guys can see some of them. Now, I am going to say this. This right here, October 12th of 2023, 2.5 months before she was released out of prison, Lifetime put this trailer on YouTube for the prison confessions of Gypsy Rose Blanchard. This wouldn't air until January 5th of 2024. I seen this. In 2015, when she committed her crime, I turned 30 that year. I am now 39. I know this case. I've followed this case. I have watched all the news coverage and all the shows and documentaries and whatnot about this case. I am very much aware of this case and always have been. October 12th of 2023, I posted this, my first video, where I take a piece of Nick's trial where Gypsy is asked under oath if Nick ever R-worded her, and she says no. I then take a piece from that trailer where she says something completely different. And then I also notice that she lies about who was the first person she ever told that she could walk and that she wasn't sick. First it's Nick, then it's Dan, then it's Dan, then it's Nick, then it's somebody else. It just didn't make any sense to me. And so my video, I got in trouble for it. For almost 6 weeks, I tried to appeal it. I lost. I had, quote, copyright, unquote, material from the trailer that I couldn't show. And I also had gotten in trouble for using the R word. So I went and I completely redid the video and I uploaded it on November 27th of 2023, a whole month before Gypsy was even released. I also thought it was strange that in October, she had an Instagram, a Facebook, and a TikTok completely set up and already made in her name, yet she wasn't released until December 28th of 2023. So I noticed right away that Lifetime had a part to play in this, that somebody behind the scenes that was out of prison already set up social media accounts. And with the trailers and the social media accounts in early October really showed me with this, the free promotion of her show, painting her as a victim. But I was extremely cautious and I was extremely weary because my biggest thing was trying to warn people about we should not idolize somebody who committed homicide. We should not be looking up to as a role model, an idol, anybody that committed this kind of offense. And this was not good for kids to be seeing on social media either. We don't give a platform to PDF files. We don't give a platform to serial homicide committers. We didn't give paid huge platforms to Charles Manson or Ted Bundy or Jeffrey Dahmer, John Wayne Gacy, or any other person that committed a heinous offense like this. So why does Gypsy Rose Blanchard get promoted just because she's white, she's female, and she's only 4'11"? That we're going to give her a platform and we're going to believe her and her lies? I thought this was very odd. So this is what started me making content. It had nothing to do with seeing medical records. It had nothing to do with anybody else. In fact, I was fighting a tidal wave of people who were believing her even when she was released. And so I have been here for almost 16 months fighting the good fight and keeping it up. But I just wanted to share some of my earlier videos about Gypsy Rose Blanchard that were all primarily on my TikTok account with everybody who hasn't seen them, to verify and corroborate that I have been here since October 12th of 2023, warning you about Gypsy Rose Blanchard. And remember, these were all done October, November, December, January 2023, going into 2024 after she was released. If you're wondering what I'm doing here, I'm covering up the prison confessions of Gypsy Rose Blanchard, which is technically copyright by Lifetime, even though I'm making my own content, doing commentary or reaction. I'm still just going to cover it up just so you can see that this was my first video. And I noticed 3 lies. The person who she first told that she could walk, the fact that Nick R-worded her, and the inconsistency of what happened with her grandfather. First it's age 4, then it's age 9, then it's 8, so who knows. But of course this is just a compilation of a bunch of my videos mashed together just so you can see. And even when Gypsy Rose did come out of prison, I was still very much hoping for the best. I was really rooting for her to do something good with her platform, with her life, for other victims, other survivors, people that have really suffered and endured the types of things she says that she has. But that's not what happened. Gypsy Rose Blanchard got out of prison, and the entire last 12 months plus has been nothing but a big disaster, one big shit show.
And you know what? I had absolutely no trouble or doubts of deleting that public one. And I have people that are like, oh my God, you're insane for deleting that kind of a following. And I'm like, I could give a F about a following. That's not real life.
Very unpopular opinion here, but that you can solicit murder, murder for hire, incite murder, commit murder, and that all equals first degree premeditated murder, same as the act of actually carrying out murder. Murder doesn't mean that you shot the bullet that killed the person, or you stabbed the knife that killed the person, or that you blew the person up. It could be putting poison in somebody's drink and that person drinking it and therefore dying, even though you're removed from the act of actually physically doing it to somebody. Murder for hire and soliciting somebody else to commit murder is first degree premeditated murder. Gypsy Rose Blanchard, unpopular opinion, but the fact that in Missouri she can get the plea deal of a lifetime to testify against somebody who is extremely autistic, and that she solicited for murder, carried it out, and that she can get out in 8 years. Not only is that against all of their laws, and I understand the abuse part, but that doesn't make it okay. It doesn't make her acts okay. It doesn't mean that any of it is absolvable, because you can't be absolved of murder. The problem is the punishment. The punishment doesn't fit the crime. She doesn't get to be absolved because her mother was abusive to her to some degree. Murder is still not okay. It's not only not okay, but the fact that she gets to get out in 8 years and continue on doing the same exact thing she was doing that got her into trouble in the first place. Talking to strange men, sexting with strange men, going online, writing, texting, emailing, sending pictures, nude pictures, videos, all of that to strange men. For Christ's sakes, she married somebody she doesn't even fucking know. That's weird. Instead of rehabilitating and actually focusing on herself and her future, she's completely jumping right into another codependent relationship with a strange man. That's weird. That's really fucking weird. And that's not even proving that she's not incorrigible anymore, that she's rehabilitated, that she's better. Because how can you ever be better from something like that? This is not a fixable crime. This is not something that you can ever come back from. Ever. This. And that is no way, shape, or form to undermine the amount of abuse that she really did suffer at the hands of her mother. But Nick Godejohn was not the first or only person that she told. So the whole story of telling the authorities scared her because she knew that they weren't going to believe her and that she had to resort to murder is a lie, because she told several men over the course of 2 years that she was speaking to online and on dating websites what her mother had been doing to her. She had solicited more than one person for murder of her mother. And she told several friends as well. So that excuse doesn't fly. Especially because she did run away twice, and she did get away with it. But she's not telling you about that second time. Now I know this is a bad joke, but anybody that has more than one kid, do you have a cabinet that looks exactly like this? And unfortunately, all this stuff has medicine in it, so it doesn't look like all this is empty bottles that should be in the trash. There really is no excuse for this shit, honestly. Like, I have 5 kids, and I don't ever have my shit looking like this. Hell no. This is really the part that bothers me the most, because my heart, my mind, my soul does feel for Gypsy. But there's also something that tells me that she hasn't been completely honest. Even in the new docuseries that she is pushing to people, and the audiobook, and all the interviews that she's doing for money, monetizing her crime, trying to play it off as she is rehabilitated, that she's better, that she is bettering herself, that she wants to go on to raise awareness. She didn't kill her mom because of self-defense for the abuse. The abuse was egregious. It was horrible. I couldn't imagine how long it's going to take her, if not the rest of her life, to learn to cope with that. But the first things first, she was not taught anything in prison, and she didn't get adequate therapy because she didn't learn the hard lesson that you need to focus on yourself. Know yourself. To have time to yourself before you can give to another person in a relationship. But she's still that sex-obsessed, boy-obsessed mentality that she would actually marry somebody who she doesn't even know in real life. And the fact that she doesn't have people in her life telling her, hey, you have all the time in the world to get married. You have all the time in the world to date, to get to know this person. What is the rush? You know, maybe you should really get out of prison and focus on you, focus on doing good, not this never-ending press tour and all of these interviews. And something doesn't sit right with me with a lot of the things she said in 3 different interviews throughout her 8 years that she was in prison. There's a lot of contradictions there that really bother me. Her attitude towards Nicholas Godejohn, that really bothers me because she has absolutely no remorse where she should have remorse the most. And the fact that she says, he served his time, I served mine. Yeah, but you shouldn't have been allowed to take a plea deal. They wanted to save millions of dollars because they thought that there's no way a jury would convict her because of the abuse story, clouding everything in their mind and making them biased, that they couldn't possibly bring a trial against her and charges against her, go through a trial, and not end up with a hung jury or not guilty verdict altogether. So they offered her a plea deal. But she shouldn't have been allowed to testify against Nick Godejohn. That right there was the most miscarriage of justice that I've ever seen. And she does take some accountability for the fact that she did ask him to do it. But she didn't take into accountability all the circumstances that she laid out and manipulated to get him to agree to that. It was 2 years in the making. It wasn't just a sudden, oh, I love you, let's run off together, you're going to be my knight in shining armor. No, she was trying to force him to be the knight in shining armor. And that doesn't really sit right with me. The docuseries has 2 more episodes dropping tonight after midnight, and then tomorrow night after midnight as well. So 2 on the 5th, 2 on the 6th, 2 on the 7th. And you can watch them on Sling TV or Hulu Live. I obviously am not going to pay for it, but I did watch the first 2 episodes. And there's quite a few things in there that she's saying now that she didn't say before. And I know that there's secrets that they want you to think, new details that are coming out, things that you have never heard about the case before. They're trying to amplify the monetization of this because the docuseries, the audio recordings, the audiobook, all of that stuff was pre-planned to coincide and correlate with her release date so they can maximize the amount of money. There's also something that tells me that Gypsy and Ryan, her husband specifically, has already been plotting a podcast and a YouTube channel. Because when she was released and they celebrated New Year's Eve, a couple days after her release, you see in the background there's a neon sign that says Gypsy and Ryan. Just like a lot of YouTubers have behind them, where however they set up their little room for their YouTube videos. Which tells me that her husband and her have been planning that for a while. And I'm sorry, but nobody wants to hear what the fuck he's got to say. I don't know you, Ryan. You know, go do your job. You have absolutely nothing to do with her crime, her prison sentence, her past life. And nobody wants to hear what you've got to say. It's irrelevant. Go be with her and be the best person that you could be for her. And be a true, honest, and good husband and friend and person, spouse that you can be to her. The best thing for her is not putting her out in the spotlight, doing interviews, making money off of her crime. I think all of that could backfire. And it's not going to work unless she is actually going to be honest, which she has not been. This, unfortunately, confirms all of my suspicions that she is still sex and boy obsessed. Because she insinuates that all these people are hating on her husband due to the sheer fact that they all want to fuck her. I don't get the meaning behind that. I think it's that people are legitimately mad that a murderer gets to get out in 8 years when she's the sole purpose of the murder.
My life, yes. She taught me how to be a good liar. A very good liar without any conscience. I had been taking narcotics such as Xanax and Vicodin.
Well, that's new.
I was high.
That's new.
Very high.
He was a different persona now?
Yes, he was. He was the loving boyfriend that is gonna make all my dreams come true.
How do you feel about him
Because
now?
no man can do that.
I can't stand
No
him
woman can do that.
because I went from one abusive person to another.
There's
I
no
wish
proof
he
of
would have
that.
been more responsible. He was the first person I ever told that I could walk.
Not true. Not true.
And yet I asked him a question. I asked him to kill my mother, but I didn't hold a gun to his head and make him do it. He seemed more happy to do it than anything. And that's why I can't stand him, is because he knew. I think he knew that he could easily get me out of that situation by calling the police, being responsible.
So, y'all
That's
pull
self-protection.
this off, you get away with this for like 4 days before you're in custody.
Yes, sir.
And then you're in an interrogation room.
Your mom's dead, okay?
Like, it's something that I'm going to have to address.
Yeah.
Because it's always in my comments. Like, why are we glorifying a murderer and this and that and the other? And, you know, I don't want to have to remind people every single time that I'm not the one that committed the act of the kill. So, you know, I'm a part of it.
Right.
But in the state of Missouri, there's no such thing as accessory to murder. So technically,
They couldn't charge you.
they couldn't charge me with accessory because that charge doesn't exist. So, I mean, had I been in another state, I would have been charged with accessory to commit murder.
Oh,
Interesting.
that makes sense.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, of course. Like, it's something
Yeah.
that I'm going to have to address.
Yeah.
Because it's always in my comments. Like, why are we glorifying a murderer and this and that and the other? And, you know, I don't want to have to remind people every single time that I'm not the one that committed the act of the kill. So, you know, I'm a part of it.
Right.
But in the state of Missouri, there's no such thing as accessory to murder. So technically,
They couldn't charge you.
they couldn't charge me with accessory because that charge doesn't exist. So, I mean, had I been in another state, I would have been charged with accessory to commit murder.
Oh,
Interesting.
that makes sense.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, of course.
Across the country, ball games, galas, the most magical place on earth, Disney World.
Make-A-Wish, we're taking her down to Orlando, all expenses paid and everything.
Right now, I'm in Cinderella's castle eating some royal mashed potatoes.
She even got to meet country superstars Miranda Lambert and then husband Blake Shelton.
Miranda Lambert came to Springfield a few times, and I think she gave Dee Dee and Gypsy money.
Yes, she did. Look at this $3,500 check from the singer's personal account. But that wasn't all. Check her out posing with her favorite actors, Elijah Wood and Sean Astin.
This is a quote from Gypsy Rose. Quote, "My mother and I were bonded by this lie together that we couldn't escape."
Gypsy Rose. Another quote by Gypsy Rose.
Across the country, ball games, galas, the most magical place on earth, Disney World.
Make-A-Wish, we're taking her down to Orlando, all expenses paid and everything.
Right now, I'm in Cinderella's castle eating some royal mashed potatoes.
She even got to meet country superstars Miranda Lambert and then husband Blake Shelton.
Miranda Lambert came to Springfield a few times, and I think she gave Dee Dee and Gypsy money.
Yes, she did. Look at this $3,500 check from the singer's personal account. But that wasn't all. Check her out posing with her favorite actors, Elijah Wood and Sean Astin.
I couldn't trust Aaliyah because my mother was starting to put things in my head that Aaliyah wasn't my true friend and that she was a bad influence on me, so I couldn't be friends with her anymore.
Why? Even that friend that you're talking about is wondering why. Aaliyah's worried about you?
Aaliyah? Are you kidding me?
Look at me. Look at me.
Aaliyah's always been a bully to me.
Okay, don't look at me.
But honestly, especially since he was from Wisconsin, I didn't think that anything would ever come of it. I thought that her mom had like enough control that there was nothing really to worry about at all. But honestly, especially since he was from Wisconsin, I didn't think that anything would ever come of it. I thought that her mom had like enough control that there was nothing really to worry about at all. I thought that her mom had like enough control that I thought that her mom had like enough control that her mom had like enough control that.
My mom, let's see. Yeah, y'all saw that. She needs to focus on her marriage, but you guys, God, I have so much to say about that, but I'm not going to do it, guys. Like, I'm glad y'all liked the show. It was hard work doing those shows. They were in our life, and you become friends with all the camera guys and all the stuff. So I miss Ben, I miss Rod, I miss, of course, I miss Uber Tom. Always miss Uber Tom. Miss the producers. David, wherever you at, buddy, right there, man. David's our New York friend. Like, David helped me through one of my hardest times of my life. Like, real. Like, David was there to be a shoulder to cry on. Like, for real. David, right there, man. I just got emotional, guys. I'm sorry. Just got emotional. Look at Pixie for a second. Sorry about that. I do get emotional sometimes, guys. I'm sorry.
They had done some tests and found out she had a chromosome disorder that was causing all of her functions from developing.
It is absolutely astonishing and mind-blowing to me that Gypsy Rose is still grifting, lying, manipulating, and doing the same exact things that she has always done. Her second chance is her parole. She might not deserve a second chance. That's not up for me to decide. It's not up for you to decide. It was not the time. Way back when was the time everybody should have stepped in and done something and went to the court, went to the PA, the DA, and expressed their views that the first degree premeditated murder, she should have been sentenced to life for that. And in Missouri, you qualify for the death penalty, for capital punishment. Whatever. Her parole is her second chance. That's done. That's over with. You could be unhappy about it. A lot of content creators are making money on Gypsy's name right now. Literally. All her drama, making content on her drama, on her life, and funding their life. Funding their lifestyle. So there's a lot of people that act like they hate her, truly act like they hate her and dislike her and don't agree with her being out, but yet they wouldn't have content on their goddamn channels and on their platforms if it wasn't for Gypsy. But this is the thing right there. What you just saw, Ryan Anderson, her husband, her legal husband, yeah. She didn't have the audacity to come to him like a grown-ass person, a normal person would, and say, this is how I'm feeling. This is the truth. This is the fact. And just up and leave him. You just suddenly come up with some excuse and gaslight him into thinking that he's the one that's doing something wrong. And then leave him like this with no closure. But you're still legally married. She's pregnant by an ex-pen pal. First of all, there's something not right with people that are writing to people who commit very heinous felony crimes in prison. Okay, there's something psychologically not okay with you. That's the type of person you're reaching out to.
I know the dating pool of women, of single women, single good women, is not that small that these people are so desperate they're going to write people in Chillicothe and say, hey, you know what? We're going to go write this person. So there's something psychologically not right about Ken and Ryan to begin with, that they're even pen-paling with murderers in prison. Okay? That's a whole different topic, a whole different subject. But this is Gypsy Rose actively hurting people still in pursuit of her living her own life. Living your life and living your dreams should never mean you actively hurt other people in such a negative way. And now she's pregnant. So yeah, there is going to be a mandatory, because her husband's going to be the one that's going to go on the birth certificate. Now that she's pregnant, she can't go to court and get a divorce because now there's a child involved. So now there's going to be a whole mess with the DNA testing that's mandatory, plus probably having to amend the child's birth certificate, all of this crazy stuff. And then that also means that her divorce is going to be pending the birth of the child. So Gypsy's creating all this sensationalism on purpose, and I swear all these creators, they're all in cahoots with her and with her family and stuff, because all this negative publicity that people are doing on her, they didn't actively try to stop her from getting out on parole. They didn't actively try to keep her locked up, so it's a little too late for that. But my whole thing is with Gypsy Rose, go ahead and live your life, honey. That's fine. That's fine. Prove to the world that you are rehabilitated. That you are rehabilitated, that you were reformed, that prison actually did something for you, and that you learned your lesson. But you didn't, because you're still coming out here, whether you're unaliving somebody or committing adultery, lying to the entire world and gaslighting the entire world into we're the problem, we're the ones that's wrong. It doesn't matter which one of those 10 rules that you're breaking in life, you're still breaking them. Still breaking them now and still actively doing that kind of harm to other people. And that, with me, doesn't sit right, and it's not okay. And it's not okay. At all. Anybody that would see this and see all of this stuff surrounding her and all of these lies and all of this fake sensationalism, propaganda, drama that is created for clicks and for views and for content. Because there is no content without the drama and the BS, right? All of this is nothing more than Gypsy Rose monetizing and trying to make money and fund her life. Instead of just going and getting a regular 9-to-5 motherfucking job like everybody else that's physically able to work does.
See, I told you all it was going to be a shit show. It's strategic.
She did this before 2015. She was in magazines, on newspapers, on the news. They used GoFundMe, they used Facebook, they used YouTube, they used all kinds of social media to run all kinds of charity stuff and get money for her and to grift. And she also used celebrities, Disney World, Disneyland, money, monetizing all of it. All of it. She's not doing anything any different now. The grift is still exactly the same as what it was. It's just now even larger and multi-platinum platform and international now. Just look. Boom. Boom. Another being airlifted and getting a whole entire motherfucking house from Habitat for Humanity for free. All this fucking shit in this house. Fuel for a fire. Yeah, they got all that for free too. Not to mention the stuff that they stole, because Gypsy and Dee Dee were caught by the police several times stealing, especially from a Michael's craft store. All them unused wheelchairs, 1, 2, 3 of them that she didn't even use, that are just sitting there. Because you know good damn and well inside that house, the reason why those windows were blacked out like that with trash bags is because Gypsy Rose was walking in the house, and we know that for a fact because her medical records reflect that her muscles and her legs did not atrophy. And after 2 days, 3 days of not walking, not only are you susceptible to getting blood clots, anybody at any age but your muscles will automatically start to atrophy and stay atrophied. So if she was forced to stay in a chair and be in a chair constantly, the doctor wouldn't have wrote in her medical records that she was able to stand, because he watched her do it in his office in the room, and that her leg muscles, her thigh muscles and calf muscles were very, very well formed. So you know that she was using those muscles and walking inside the house. I don't believe that this whole victim narrative BS, just like nobody else believes it. Oh, yeah, any parent, I can tell you right now, this medicine cabinet has always bothered me, and I've been saying this since day one. Any parent, look at that. All of that stuff, that's an obsessive compulsive, and hoarding is a type of OCD. This right here is just any parent that has kids. You probably have a closet or a pantry or something like that, or a medicine cabinet that has just about everything you could ever need in case there's a bug bite, a burn, poison ivy, poison oak, allergies, any kind of itch cream, any kind of cross-up, any kind of Tylenol, Motrin, Advil, Aleve, any kind of Claritin, Benadryl, all of it, nasal spray, all the inhalers, all this stuff. Well, why is there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? It looks like somebody's getting this shit filled, but they're not using it. There's rows and rows and rows of medicine. That's Metamucil. This is all over-the-counter stuff, except for the stuff that you find in the bottles. A lot of that's like a mouthwash a dentist will give you after you've had teeth pulled. And then a lot of this stuff here, you see a couple bottles, but most of this stuff, it looks overwhelming, but most of this stuff is over-the-counter. And full. Completely full and not used. If she was being forced to take that stuff, why is this all full?
His mother locked her in a backyard shed when she learned her daughter was messaging with boys online.
In this shed is nothing except for a toddler bed. According to Gypsy, she was told that, you know, if you don't do what I'm telling you to do, I'll put you in there and you'll never come out again.
The shed might have looked like a mini house, but the inside floor was made of dirt, where slugs and fire ants and worse, spiders lived. As dust blanketed the sky, the temperature dipped, and I was officially freaked out. I asked her cautiously, as if walking through a minefield, "Mama, what are we doing?" "You can't be trusted," she said, her mind well made up. "Get in." "No, stop, Mama." My sobs failed to penetrate, bring her back to this world. She was somewhere else now, riding a wave of hatred and jealousy, fear and recklessness. She pushed me into the shed. "Get out of the chair," she said. Even alone in the dark out back, where nobody would think to look for us, I transferred myself out of the chair as if my legs really didn't work. I placed myself on the ground among the big black garbage bags full of shoplifted garments, tears spilling onto the dirt.
Yes, Gypsy Rose Blanchard is a smoker, and she has been up until 24 weeks pregnant that I know of, confirmed. I witnessed it on 3 different live panels myself, including the one I'm going to show you. Right here.
Together because she's on parole, she can't live with me technically. She visits a lot. She's not pregnant for everybody who keeps asking.
No, I'm on
She's not pregnant.
Like, what the hell?
Okay, there you have it. That's over 12 different TikTok videos that I did very early on, before and right after Gypsy's release about Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Hope you enjoyed. And don't forget to subscribe, like, turn on notifications, and share.